Because here, I'm going to talk about D-Tech, right? De-technologizing your conversation. In reality, though, here now in all things pandemic, it's almost like super tech, right? Everything that we kind of did in the D-Tech world has now been forced into a technological environment. You know, we've been robbed of our opportunity to have face-to-face interactions, right? We're now doing things on Zoom and Skype. And again, all of these have been around for enormous amounts of time. But there's a session I do called Economic Darwinism. And what that means is, all things being equal, certain industries fit certain roles in certain niches. Now, Skype has been around for a long time. Zoom has been around for a long time. But it was only marginally successful. And the reason it was marginally successful, it was kind of like the bastard stepchild to a face-to-face meeting, right? You always wanted to have that face-to-face. In the event that you couldn't, you saw the Zoom or Skype as kind of a less desirable alternative, yet was an alternative. Now all things pandemic come in, and now it's the best game in town, right? People who never did e-blast before are now in the e-blast world. People who never texted before are now doing more texting. People who never did Twitter before are now doing more Twitter. And now Parlors come out as another social media platform, and Instagram goes up, and all the ones that are out there are all exploding. Because not only do they represent an option in order to get our visibility out in the world, but because of the low cost, now people that are abhorrent or really kind of shying away from spending money are now jumping into it. So now when we jump into that pool, we are now kind of swimming around in a level of competitiveness that is even higher than it was before. Right? Because now everybody's doing it. Everybody's jumping into that pool of mediocrity. Everybody's looking for the cheapest way to do things. And as a result, most people have very, very poor experiences. They have very, very poor expectations. They have very, very poor results that come from it. So today's session, in a little bit of time that I'm going to do, it's going to talk about D-Tech as opposed to Super Tech, but it's also going to come with a challenge. Normally you don't get a lot of challenges from me. All right, but you're going to get a challenge, and I want you to pick a day. I prefer it to be in the next 30 days. I prefer it to be in the next 7, but I'll take the next 30 because this is like getting off crack to some people. All right, I want you to have a no email or text day. Now, let me put a caveat on that. All right, in a professional selling world, the only time that you email or text is when a phone call is not appropriate. Now, we did last week's session, which I would encourage you to watch on Vimeo, and it'll give you all the details of it. When we should call, why, all the reasonings, blah, 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 when it's emotional, when we haven't contacted for a while, when there's a penitent issue. I mean, there's lots of reasons for the call. But most people kind of they kind of phone it in with email. They phone it in with text. What they're essentially saying is, I don't actually want to talk to you. I just want to tell you what I want to tell you without the real need for listening, right? There's not a strong listening component in email or text, right? It's like, let me talk. I'm going to tell you. This is my narrative. That's my dialogue. I just want you to absorb it, sit idly by, and I really don't want to hear back from you because that's the reason I emailed you to text. I really don't want to talk to you. I just want you to listen to my text. I want you to read my text, taking listening out of it. So the idea of challenging a no email or no text day. So if it's 2 o'clock in the morning and you want to communicate to someone, I'm okay with an email, right? If it's not appropriate, then, or if it's a one-directional conversation, if you're saying, I'll meet you tomorrow at 8. Well, that's okay to do as an email, right? It's a one-directional. Most selling conversations, though, are give and take, right? It's like that game of tennis, right? I say something, they say something. I say something, they say something. And when we kind of pigeonhole ourselves in the session we do Move to the Left, when you start in that electronic platform, your goal is to move to the left. Ultimately, looking forward to a face-to-face meeting. We use the Match.com and a lot of the online dating services as the best illustration and manifestation of a successful relationship ends in a face-to-face.